Greetings, my fellow free Southern thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to LO3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the wild, wonderful Mountain State. And today's date is Saturday, August 28th, 2021. I feel like I just decided to do another show. I go, why not? Yeah, it's hot out there, so all you folks just drink lots of fluids. Don't get too strenuous. Not just in the Mountain State, but everywhere else, even including South Florida, my home state. I can say that proudly. But I'm not going to go enough of a rant on right now, so I'm just going to do an article, which I've seen it on the Ron Paul Peace and Prosperity website, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to look it up. This is from the Future of Freedom Foundation, which is fff.org. It's written by Jacob Horenberger. It's entitled The United States Government versus the United States. And as it reads here, advocates of empire and intervention are saying that given the debacle in Afghanistan, America should not retreat from the world. Even though our nation has lost credibility in the world, they say it is imperative that the United States continue to project power and influence around the world. To do otherwise, they say, would create a vacuum into which would flow Russia, China, Iran, the terrorists, or some other adversary, opponent, or enemy. Some of them are even bringing up the dreaded word isolationism. One big problem here is that advocates for empire interventionism often conflate the U.S. government and the United States. Actually, the federal government and the country are two separate and distinct entities. The fact is borne out by the Bill of Rights, which expressly protects the country from the federal government. If the federal government and the country were one and the same, the Bill of Rights would be nonsensical. Why is it important to keep this distinction in mind? Because it holds a key to the liberty and well-being of our nation going forward in the wake of the Afghanistan debacle. Two of the founding principles on which our nation was founded on were non-interventionism and limited government republic. As John Quincy Adams pointed out in his 4th of July address to Congress in 1821, the U.S. government does not go abroad in search of monsters to destroy. At the same time, the American people favored a very weak federal government, that is, one that lacked the military and financial capability of going abroad in search of monsters to destroy. Those two concepts are what Americans should be aiming for going forward in the wake of the Afghanistan debacle. A foreign policy of non-interventionism and the restoration of a limited government republic, one which the federal government has very weak powers and capabilities. Wouldn't this mean that America would be isolated from the rest of the world? On the contrary, remember, the federal government and America are two separate and distinct entities. Going forward, the American people, i.e. the country, should be liberated to interact freely with people of the world. No more sanctions, no more embargoes, no more travel restrictions, no more trade restrictions, no more monetary restrictions, no more state-sponsored assassinations, kidnappings, and torture. No more restrictions of freedom of association with foreigners. In other words, the government sector would be prohibited from intervening in the world with invasions, occupations, wars of aggression, coups, sanctions, embargoes, foreign aid, alliances with foreign regimes, and foreign military bases. On the other hand, the private sector, the country, America, the American people, would be unleashed to travel, trade, spend money, engage in cultural exchanges, and associate with others. In this way, the nation would become stronger, freer, and more prosperous, while the governmental sector would become weaker, i.e., limited to protecting the United States from a foreign invasion, much like Switzerland's government is. Foreigners love Americans, especially our money. They just hate the U.S. government with justification. Restoring liberty, prosperity, and harmony to our land necessarily entails recognizing that the federal government and our nation are two separate and distinct entities, the first of which needs to be weakened and restrained, while the second of which needs to be unleashed and free. Very intriguing indeed. Even our founding fathers have warned us about this. The imperialism, or having an empire, always the road to blowback. This is why I'm always been very leery and highly critical of these motives. Even the horrific event that happened in Afghanistan, for an example, is disturbing. But we should have been there for all those years. Not condemning the servicemen by any means. The political bobbleheads, the pundits, the lobbyist groups love that, because that gives them power and glory, and they could do kickbacks to these corrupt politicians on a federal level. Regardless branch of government or party, both of them are elements from both parties are liable for this, including President Joe Biden. Some folks may say, well, a Republican president got war with the Taliban for 20 years. Yeah, but Joe Biden voted for stuff like that. Just to give you an example. So don't use this partisan politics of pointing the finger. It's ridiculous. Or other words, absurd. We need to focus on resurrecting our republic. Bring it back how it was. It may not be perfect, but we could have a great opportunity to make things better for ourselves. No more foreign aid, foreign entanglements, and everything else, etc. This is why individuals like myself supported Ron Paul when he was presidential candidate twice. I have no shame. It's funny, I was looking at his book, Foreign Policy on Freedom. I gotta write my hand right now. It says here, peace, commerce, and honest friendship. And there's one great quote that was said here. Peace, commerce, and honest friendship with all nations, entangling alliances with none. Thomas Jefferson's first inaugural address in 1801. That's what we need to focus on, folks. Tired of these neocons, neolibs, neoquacks trying to tell us what we have to do. They all act like they're all tough and bad with their rhetoric. They can't even put on a pair of underwear. That's regardless of gender. Oh, one thing I tell people for sure. Say yes to a republic and no to an empire. And the history of Afghanistan, they call it the graveyard for the empire. All you got to do, folks, study history. We don't need no more drama. We got a lot on our plate, including overthrowing the Club of Rome by all means necessary. And that will be it. Thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or anything on this issue you want to check out, wherever you do, please send your correspondence to the quorum. Furthermore, I'll leave the footnote of this article so you can read for yourself. And if you want to contact me, you can do it via email at lookyourlucknumber03@protonmail.com. You want to do a donation? You can go to paypal.me or cash.app/lookyourlucknumber3. If you want to support the Future Freedom Foundation, FFF.org. The link will be on that page I'm going to post. So give them that support. I always love freedom-loving, liberty-minded individuals to put out their own views. All right. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.